Hey everybody, how's it going? My name's Brandon. Starting this channel, well, it's been more than a year coming. And last year, I just wanted to kind of basically have just videos that showed how to do stuff. Like, if I learned how to figure something out and maybe I struggled through it, I'd, at the very least, just like to document it. And that way I have it for just even a reference for myself. But with all the misinformation and just lack of information in the information age we're in right now, actually it's gone from the information age to the misinformation age. Finding information on something you're trying to learn, with me it's been software development. It's just been just a struggle. It's been harder than it should be and really needs to be. You know, going through these struggles, I just wanted to kind of put together these videos that illustrated, hey, this is how I went about doing something. It worked for me. Maybe it'll work for you. But throughout that, I wanted an intro for my videos. And I was convinced that I couldn't proceed with uploading any videos to YouTube until I had that intro animation done and whatever. So I spent like all last summer with Blender, which is something I wanted to do anyways. That's why I got into computers way back when. And basically this video is just an introduction about what I kind of see this channel being and the kind of content I plan on offering and the topics, you know, I'll likely cover, and just give a heads up. Hey, this is what I plan on my channel being about, so you've been warned. Yeah, I was convinced I couldn't upload, you know, any other videos I had been recording in the meantime, because I got hundreds of videos like I recorded over the past year. A lot of them are just screencasts of me just, you know, working on a computer. And the reason I do that is I like catching those moments where, you know, maybe I figure something out, or I want to go back and like, oh, how did I do that one thing, you know? Having a screencast, you know, a record of it, it just helps things sit in memory. Especially with me, you know, the older you get, the more your memory declines, and I'm no spring chicken, so there's that. But, checking the audio, there's so much. I spent hours getting this thing ready, and right now I just got this one camera I'm looking at, but there's two others and like 3 mics. It's just stupid. But, you know, I even made notes and like in a summary, and then I highlighted it because my summary was rather wordy, as I tend to be. So I went through with a highlighter and just kind of bullet points, you know, keep it short and sweet, which is hard for me. Let's see, what did I have here? Introduction. Yeah, I guess we'll start with, you know, just me, I guess, you know. My name's Brandon. I usually refer to myself as Brando, which is a recent development. Within recent, I mean the past 3 years, since 2017. You'll hear me refer to 2017 a lot. That was what I call my midlife crisis, kind of like breaking point that I reached that year, and it was a seismic shift in just my life, everything about it, really. I'm not going to go into all the details in this video because this is supposed to be an introduction and not like my whole life story. But over time, you know, you'll get little pieces of kind of what transpired, and you know, you can put together that puzzle if you feel like it. Yeah, I wouldn't bother. But basically, I started with computers when I was like 13. What really kind of lit my fire was I borrowed borrowed shareware. Is that thing borrowware? But yeah, this kid I knew in middle school gave me a shareware version of Doom there, you know, episode 1. And my parents that year gotten a 486 DX2 with 66 megahertz, 8 megs of RAM, 540 megabyte hard drive, Windows 3.1. I don't know how I remember that shit. My memory is, sometimes it works really well, and then other times it's like, where'd it go? But I was like ramped up. I wanted to, get into the Doom hype. Everyone was playing. I mean, it was, for anyone that grew up in that era and saw that for the first time, it was game changing. It changed the whole industry. There's nothing like it. Wringing every last bit of performance out of those PCs that they could to, display an environment like that. It's the first time you got a sense of what computers were really capable of doing. And I remember installing it when I got home from school, and we're sitting there, it got installed, and then we run the game, and then the demo starts playing, and it was like jaw on the floor, and my ex-parents were just like, no, this has got to go, this is way too violent. And Doom stayed on that computer for about a whole 5 minutes. From there, I was freaking determined to make a game that was, as I told them, more violent and more gory and just Doom times 10. Long story short, that never happened, but that was my goal when I was 12, 13 years old. Got my first computer, it was a 286, so it was a downgrade, and I just had DOS, and I spent a lot of time with QBasic. So that was like my middle school, and then into high school, I was getting into C++ and doing more graphic stuff with like VGA. Game development I always gravitated towards that because I just liked, it's a form of art. I'm not the most artistic person, but I do have some artistic characteristics. See, I'm wearing a Pantera shirt. I'm into music. I play guitar. Long story short, I'll always dig Pantera. Rest in peace, Vinny and Dime. But past couple of years, I've been really into C2A, Polyphia, intervals to a certain extent. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked here. But that falls in line with the artistic side. But with games, you can tie all that together. You can tie your music, you got the graphics, visuals, you can make your own worlds. It's just there's so much you can do with it, and it's always intrigued me. Yeah, so high school, it was about C++, which I haven't touched since then, pretty much. I don't know. I kind of have an itch, but I got too much other shit going on. You'll hear me mention this a lot. I am a firm believer in software development, computer science being a science, and engineering, things that need to be exact. I know nothing that's like implicit or be explicit and maybe a little more verbose than people would like, but if it nails the point home and there's no ambiguity in what you're trying to do, that leads to less bugs. But I digress. People, the most pressing matter is whatever they got to do, it's less keystrokes, even if it makes your code look like shit. But high school, the graphic stuff, VGA, mode 13H is popping in my head, and I think that was the 256 color mode, 320 by 200 pixels, something like that. I only had 1 year community college for computer science, made the dean's list, barely even went to college. I did a lot of drinking then, but I was working with computers for years by then. I started going my second year. I did it's what's in now, the distant learning. I took these classes online. I didn't have the discipline. Well, it wasn't so much that, it was the timing of it, because right during that time I got into eBay. It was it was about 2002, and I put an ad on a classified ad in the local paper and got just asking for like old computers and stuff. I'd pick them up free of charge, because I figured I was kind of sell it as a service that I'm offering people, because otherwise I got to pay to take it to the dump or whatever. Or at least I wanted to imply that. So I got a number of calls and a few businesses. Well, for long, I ended up with a crap ton of freaking computer hardware and a bit of stuff to sell on eBay. So that kind of diverted my college career or path. So living at home at the time, I was still kind of trying to develop my own piece of software. It was actually a business management app, something not too dissimilar from what I'm working on right now, which is kind of weird. I had this pressure at home to, hey, go out and get a job. What are you doing? You're up in your room, playing on your keyboard, Got a lot of that. Folks didn't push me or encourage me in that way. And I think they did me a great disservice in that. But yeah, I grew up quick, I guess. I eventually got booted out of my ex-parents' house and, had real bills to pay. I found myself working at a factory that makes glass beads that they put in the road paint, make it reflective. So to make these glass beads, you have to deal with molten glass and these big ass furnaces. Started as a lab tech, ended up being an oven tech at the end of it. And I just remember shoveling molten glass into this hopper this one day and being like, what the fuck am I doing? And I think it was a few days later, I was on a forklift emptying a hopper. It was rework, glass beads that didn't pass. They weren't round enough. They weren't very reflective, or they didn't meet that standard. So we rework them, dumping it in a freaking auger above my head. And these furnaces are blowing freaking gas and flames like 30, 40 feet in the air, and these cylinders that would just, make these beads. I don't even know how the process works. That was like a long freaking time ago. That was like that was more than 15 years ago. That's like almost 20, 18 years ago. Regardless, when I was dumping that hopper, one hot bead freaking hit me right in the corner. I'm so glad it didn't go in my eye, but it hit me in the corner. And, I have glasses on, but it doesn't matter. It seems something's always making its way around. And, I was like, oh man, really pissed. And then my boss comes up to me asking me for the paperwork for the previous shift because, I was good at keeping my records because I came from the lab tech area and, got to make sure all the I's are dotted, T's crossed. I was dependable. And so dependable enough for my boss to think that I was also responsible for the previous shift paperwork. Yeah. Said, fuck you, and I just walked out. Well, he told me to go home, and I did, and then I never came back. Fast forward a little bit, after that, let's see, that was in the spring, late summer. My best friend at the time, he was working for a local carpet cleaning company. He needed some help. At first it was just like weekend and evening work, but then we kind of forced the day guy out because he was just an alcoholic mess, and he was no good for the business. And I realized real quickly that I could dig that work. I'm coming from, that factory, shoveling molten glass, which, whatever, I did it. I remember one Easter Sunday working 15-hour shift. It was, I was only scheduled for 8. I was running the ovens, and this thing, it's called baking a cake, this big chunk of molten glass just kept growing and growing. It ended up growing to the size where it completely blocked the furnace. It was my bad. Because it was my bad, I elected to stay, an extra 7 hours on Easter to make it right. I was the cause of this problem. I didn't want to leave that for the next shift because it was ass. You had to go climb that oven, take pickaxe, shovels, break this piece of glass up. I remember my shoes were melting to this freaking chunk of hot glass in this oven. Yeah, I was going to chip in. Going to the carpet cleaning, it was nice. It was like a different environment every day. You're in someone's house, a different house every day. And I remember saying this a lot my first couple of years, and I just recalled this recently. And I always used to say, it's because I was coming from the computer background, and I was also doing side repairs. I'd fix some computers. I was just hustling. Now it's like I don't have the ability to hustle, or I forgot how. I don't know. Yeah, troubleshooting the carpet. I remember that was the thing. What I liked about it is you go in, you do your job, you get out, and you get paid. The biggest problem I had with trying to do this software thing back in the day is there's no money. I was always trying to make my app or do something, but the work that you got to put into it up front is just, it's enormous. It's enormous work, and you don't know whether or not the end result is even going to pay. Make these little apps, and then what, go bust. I could have used it for on a resume or portfolio. It's more of what I'm doing now. There's no guarantees. And that's hard. With the carpet cleaning, it's like, hey, you guys called, scheduled a job, I'm here, I did the job, pay me. Done. And I guess that's one thing I kind of miss about that. Going on from that, actually, I grew to like the work so much that I spent 6 years with the company. In the first 2 years, the owner, he was looking to sell, him and his brother. There's 2 brothers that owned it. I thought it could be a real good opportunity. And it ended up being a good opportunity. So, in 2008, I bought that business. Earlier that year, me and my wife had purchased a house. Well, what little savings we did have at that point went towards like the down payment and all this stuff that's associated with owning a house. So come June of 2008, after buying, going through the house purchasing in January of 2008, it's like telling my boss, hey, there's no way I can buy this business now. I just bought a house. Like, I'm like 25 years old here. So yeah, in 2008, they were willing to work with me, so that was pretty cool. I was supposed to have it paid off in like 5 years. It ended up taking, I think, 7. But they were cool guys. What was it, 3 or 4 years in, I had to buy like a new carpet cleaning machine. Those things aren't cheap. I mean, this was a $25,000 investment on top of, the almost 70 grand I paid for the business. So, I mean, it's a bit of money, to pay. 2017, shit just started breaking. And it was time to get new equipment, but there was a lot of things going on. I had back troubles for about 10 years. I was on pain management. At the end of 16 and the early 17, my back started getting better miraculously after 10 years. I quit pain management cold turkey. There's millions out there that know how the opioids are. They're brutal. I dealt with them on and off over that time. The physical withdrawal is one thing. It depends what kind of medication you're taking as far as the physical withdrawals. But what hit me in 17 was so much mental. I had so much that I was remembering from my past. And, I was never abused or anything. I know I've made mention of, my ex-parents and kicked out, I had a hard life growing up. No, I've never abused that. Just want to get that out there. People out there definitely have it worse than me. I'm not going to say, it was fucking terrible. I got all these bad memories, no. No abuse, but there was just things, in my past that were bothering me. And so with the mental shit that kind of caught me off guard with that and the withdrawal, and it turns out maybe I was blocking more than just the physical pain. Then my carpal tunnel in both hands from with the line, the constant movements back and forth, was taking its toll. So it's like, I don't know, do I spend another 50 grand and get a new truck and carpet cleaning stuff without knowing whether or not my body's going to be able to pull out? I don't know. I wasn't willing to take that risk. Yeah, me and my wife were just talking about options, and so we were looking at expanding the business, creating 2 divisions, a commercial and a residential, and it was going to be like this big thing, and I was going to give one of my ex-brothers a stake in the business, for pretty much nothing. Like, here, dude, thanks for helping me out. Here's a stake in the business. And my 2 ex-brothers, they constantly had, in the past, like, said, Brandon's been handed stuff. He's had it easy. And they don't see the 80 to 100 hours I was working a week in 17. And that, I typically did about 80 hours a week during the summer. Because summers are the busiest time of carpet cleaning. We live in a college town. There's a lot of college rentals. There's just a lot of work. So I was conditioned for that. And that's about the most you're going to want to do in a week. In 17, I was starting to hit 100-hour weeks because I would work all day and then something would go wrong with either the truck or the machine. I'd have to fix it. I'd be working at night. I'd be like 4 in the morning. I'd be welding something. I'd have a job at 8. So, one day I'm working at 8. My first appointments were at 8 o'clock, work till like 5 or 6. Home, eat something, maybe goes off for a couple. Be out at the shop like by 7, 7:30, and work till, whatever got fixed. And that ended up being, there was times, 5, 6 in the morning. Shit, I got to be on the job in 2 hours again and work another full day. That's how, 100 hours a week adds up. You get there quick when you do shit like that, and that was just brutal. I don't know, I don't even know how I survived that year. But, it totally just wrecked me. Yeah, my ex-family, they just bailed on me pretty much in the summer of 17. I was going through all this, like, mental shit, and it started with Memorial Day when they just kind of, we always threw, we'll cook out, and they just, me and my brother had a little spat, and they just up and left and just disrespecting my wife's family. It's just, I don't know, we're very selfish and just, it is what it is. But it didn't help my mental state. With everything I had going on with the business, I didn't know where to take it. My arms were killing me, and just my head. with all the stuff. I didn't know why I was like having these emotions like I was, and I still do. And that's another thing this channel is gonna kind of touch on, is just dealing with depression, because I've had some heavy doses of pretty much. I've come to the conclusion it's just a massive depression. It's very severe. I've gone to a doctor because I'm not going to get into why. It was some senses maybe already given up, but I don't know. So there's going to be some videos that maybe I'm just venting. Now, with that being said, I'm going to create another channel called it's going to be along the lines of like Rantics, because I want to keep this one more information based and not misinformation. Just keep my opinion maybe out of it as much as I can. Be a little more professional with the Trinix media, and then the Rantics, like kind of offshoot. Use that when to kind of really just bitch, and if I got something on my chest, kind of vent on that. So a little more cash on that. I just want to have that degree of separation. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I just so that's another thing I'm going to be doing here. I'll have other videos where I go through, kind of some more of my background, so you can get to know who I am and where I'm coming from with things. This is just laying the groundwork for all that, and I need to get this done, because that's one thing I've been struggling with, is just seeing something to completion. It's been like I've been cursed my whole life. I'm self-sabotaging, I'm the self-saboteur is what I call myself. It's I get close to finishing something, it's like, oh, it's close enough, I got this other thing I gotta get to, Even this intro video, I didn't want to do it till I got to a certain point in this web app I'm making. It's kind of like, man, you got a lot more work to do in this web app. It's going to be a while before you do this intro video. And meanwhile, I'm still recording these videos. I'm still learning stuff, and there's all this stuff I'd like to share. And I need to start pushing that out there, because right now I'm just a ghost. So I'm going to go over my office, touched on me and my history enough for one night. Since I walked away from my carpet cleaner business in 2017, I have not been making any freaking money, so I've had to improvise a lot of stuff. Even these cameras, like the cameras I'm using to record right now, are my old cell phones. I went through 4 Samsung Notes in 2017 because my carpal tunnel, I kept dropping shit. Well, over the past couple years, I've fixed a couple of them, and I use them as cameras. My actual cell phone, which is still a Note 3, does what I needed to do. Doesn't overheat. The Note 4 overheats. So yeah, using a lot of older stuff. Start with, just gonna go back here. It's a little Acer netbook, and behind it is a stack of 4 netbooks, and those are my original dev servers before I got into VMs and virtualization and KVM and QEMU. Those are also topics I'm going to be covering, is the virtualization, because I've learned a lot about that over the past couple of years. But honestly, it's not my forte. I struggled with a lot of that stuff because it can be dry. It's a lot harder to illustrate to someone, the concept of virtualization than it is to show them something rendered in Blender. Yeah, let me switch my desktops here. So this camera over here is a Note 4 that's streaming, and I'll have to turn it a little bit so you can see my Note 3 that's behind the monitor that's facing, well, me. And then my cell phone is behind me, which is, so you can get an overview of my office here. All right, here I am. Here's me in my little cave, my corner of the world here. Talking makes you thirsty. Okay, it up and kind of show that. Let's start with the servers over here. This is a hacked together server rack thingamajigger that I made. It's just like pieces of metal. Yeah, some sliders, some some server rails. I bought this in 2018 thinking I absolutely needed it. I convinced myself I need more rails for my servers. This netbook in front of the server, which I should move that down because that's actually blocking the airflow for that one server. I use this netbook over here, and this one I closed as Wi-Fi access points for my cameras, and I have those on a different subnet. All this stuff I'll go over in time in more detail, but I just kind of want to give an overview of what's going on. So this server down here is my main work server. It's got virtualization, and it looks like Vert Manager is not cooperating with me right now, so that's unfortunate. Oh, what the hell? So yeah, issues with Vert Manager, that's nice. So normally I'd be able to access my virtual machines that are within that. Anyways, so that's there. This one right here is a file server that I have most of the stuff backed up onto an NFS server on this Dell R710. That's one above it, but there's still stuff on there that I need to just get off there and back up. Those drives have over 70,000 hours on them, and it's a ticking time bomb. Last in March of 2019, it was bad. I lost like 3 hard drives. I didn't lose any data because of redundancy and how I had things set up. But yeah, 3 drives to go in such a short period of time was, yeah, it was odd. I blame the cosmic rays because we're in a solar minimum, but that's a topic for another day. The R710 was my first introduction to virtualization, so that was after that Acer, what I call my DevOps OTG stack, so DevOps on the go. It's like you can just take those 4 little netbooks and you got your DevOps. Just roll with it. Yeah, because there's like an Apache server, there's a Node, well, 2 Node servers. The second one is primarily for my Vue.js stuff I've been kind of working on. And then I think there's a database server, but I'm not even using that for a database server, but it's been on for like 2 years. So the way I have the monitors split up now is, I guess you can see it on this back end camera. I'm going to move this one window across the 3 so you can see it's over here on this monitor, and then on this lower one is a virtual machine that's running on the R710. And in the R710 I had 2 GT710 video cards. The only thing I can get that didn't require external power, so they're just powered by the PCI Express bus, which is what I needed for that server. They aren't that great, but let's see, I got Caden Live over here, and the other 3 monitors, so the 50 up here, this 27, this portrait on the side, and then this lower 24. That's powered by this desktop, which is now running MX Linux on some old, it's actually a laptop hard drive I think I have it installed on, just because I had the drive laying around. And it's not even an SSD, I'm logged in as my wife because I messed up my user account somehow. Something happened with the graphics drivers, and I wasn't able to revert, I don't know. But I found out that I could log in under my wife's account and all the drivers are fine, which is weird because it shouldn't have been. I really should have just reformatted at that time before I, had the system configured really how I wanted to, but it is what it is. So yeah. So those 3 monitors are part of that workstation, and it's kind of a pain not having these 6 monitors all in one system because I do lose my mouse cursor a lot. Now with that being said, Synergy has really helped out. I don't have a side shot. Over on my right is my wife's workstation. She's also got a VM running with 3 monitors that uses the other GT710 in the server. So on that server, me and my wife each have our own workstation with 3 monitors. So I think that's pretty cool. On average, uses about 270 watts. Right now it's ramped up because it's so warm in here. The fans have, the RPMs have increased. I have Synergy all the way from hers, all the way across the room to, I think it ends on this Dell. You'll see the screens light up. So there's Dell. I use that for like audio and actually guitar effects with the guitar rigs in Linux. You can see me moving around the window on that one lower 17-inch monitor. That's my virtualization server. So this monitor was this server. This middle one is headless, and the R710 is this monitor right here. Still got the mouse in. As I know, I shouldn't have a desktop environment on the server, but whatever, sue me. Next is this laptop, which is starting to act a little screwy the past day. This was my laptop I had I have a recording studio in my basement. The hard drive went on it. It was one of the drives that went last year. So now it's just booted into a live version of KX Studio that's on a Pixie server that's also running inside a VM on that lower bottom server. Yeah, I got a lot of VMs running. But that Pixie server is nice, and I'll have a video that kind of walks through that. Like I said, a lot of the shit, like the cameras and whatnot, well, I can't really see them because they're recording, but they're like strapped. Well, you can see it in this right here. It's like held together by rubber bands and shit, like everything is. These mics here, this one is from, this is actually one I got on Amazon for like $10. This lower one, the Rock Band microphone that you get with Rock Band, because it's USB and I have it plugged into the R710 virtualization server, so I can direct that USB port to any of the VMs. So if I wanted to even move this mic over to my wife's workstation and record over there, I just redirect the USB in the Vert Manager. It's cool. But anyways, it's just all hodgepodge shit. What else? Oh, this little lapel mic, which I probably is gating out right now because I was manhandling it. It's like an old cell phone earbud piece that had like a flexible microphone. So yeah, I just kind of took that, I spliced it, and I got it hooked into a 3.5 millimeter mono audio cable into the laptop over there. I also lost a little freaking fuzzy part that goes over the mic, so I took some packing foam or whatever, trimmed it up, stapled it around the thing, and that's why that looks like a freaking turd, because it is a turd. So that's that. That about covers it. I just wanted to kind of go over the overview shot of the office here. The only other thing I was going to maybe go over is kind of some different things I've been working on in Blender. Because, like I said, that's kind of where I want to be with that. The computer stuff is more in the design and stuff like that. I'll always code. I really like writing code. Actually, what I really like lately is just writing like little scripts, like little bash scripts that just do something you need done, and that's it. I got to make one. I have this list of MP3 files that just have the title but not the artist for the file name. So when you're scrolling through all the files, it's like, who's the artist? Luckily, it's in the ID3 MP3 metadata information. So I got the script half put together. It reads the metadata, and then it goes through a for loop and renames all the files then based on whatever's in the metadata. But it's kind of a hassle, but it's also, hey, that's kind of cool. I got to make this little script out of it too and share it. I'm sure other people can use that, and I'm sure I'll find there'll be another time where I have to, organize some music or whatever, rename some files, because I already have a script that strips the spaces out of files and replaces them with underscores. So basically, I'm just taking that script and merging it with this other one that looks up the metadata in the file. I dig that kind of hacky shit. This is gonna go away for a second. Get up there. Virtual. Yes, I would like to. Kill that shit. All right. There we go. I'm gonna scoot over here real quick. Come on, get over there. You know what? I'm going away, actually. And I should be back in a second. Hey, look there, and fading's too long. I like having a clock, just for time purposes. Oh, really? That's gotta happen. That's kind of lame. Whatever. So, Blender. This is the last thing I was working on in Blender way back in October. Jeez, it's been that long since I used Blender. Oh, I don't even know how to rotate the object. You know what? I shouldn't be doing this because I'm casting still, and this is going to totally bog down my system. So I'm getting out of here. Discard changes. Yeah, I didn't change anything in that. So that was like a little house I was kind of putting together. The different thing with that is it was a lot of procedural-based modeling. So I would just do like a little section and then do modifiers to build up the model, build it out. So that was cool. That was something different for me. All right. Layouts, yes. Zoom out. Where are you? Come on. No, I guess there's nothing here. It's all dark. I thought I had clouds or something in this. Speaking of which, yeah. And these should be animated too, right? It uses noise texture, so I made this like cloud thing. And I made a loop. I can pull it up. The last thing I'm going to show is just the web apps that I'm working on. So I wanted to give a roundabout idea of kind of everything I'm working on here. So I got the virtualization, I got 3D modeling, I'm doing code and shit with JavaScript, Vue.js. Well, that's still JavaScript. I have more experience with PHP. I still kind of like that, which is what it is. What is this address? Nope, there's no T. I hope this VM's still running. Okay, it is. I gotta log in. So this is like this task app I'm making, and actually, let me close this. So I'm calling this turn your OCD, ADHD, too many tasks to do, OMG, into tasks to done's ASAP. Yeah, that was pretty awesome, I think. Scoot over here so you guys can see what's going on. I'm going to move this down yonder because I don't want to... Well, it's just a test count anyways. And why I chose such a long password for a test account, I do not know. Alright, moving this back. Okay, so this... Now, what's funny about this is supposed to be a task management app for... I'm targeting, people that are more prone to like ADHD and ADD. I have never been clinically diagnosed with that, but I check a lot of boxes on the ADHD category there and OCD and all that good stuff. One thing you don't want is distractions. That's one thing this whole background thing. I mean, it looks neat and everything, and I just was a kind of proof of concept. I even like this thing where you can make it dark, so it's like dark clouds, which is neat. And then where is it? Yeah, my Widget Spinner. So instead of a fidget spinner, I'm calling this the Widget Spinner, which it does, we'll see, spin widgets. Basically, this started as a Brad travesty. I'm sure anyone in development, has heard his name, watched a video too of his. But he did one about earlier in the year with the calendar. Actually, it was the end of last year, I think. So using Beautify with the calendar. So that's how this started, and then it's morphed into more than that. So within the past 2 weeks, I got this stuff working. So it's if you read this, it's King Crimson reference. Into metal, but also love Prague. And then you can click on these and you can do whatever you gotta do. There's a weather one I want. So yeah, it spins around, it's gonna be kind of neat. All in one kind of app. Notes. Yeah, the initial click, it just eats it to get focus. Go back to the tasks. So yeah, this is one of the primary app I've been working on. And then the other day, I made this little thing in a day, which is funny. I can't make a task app in like 2 or 3 years, which other developers can do in like 2 hours or less, maybe 2 minutes. So yeah, I mean, granted, there's a lot of extra stuff to it. It's not just a to-do thing. But I had this older guy show up at my house. He's a cool dude. I cleaned carpets. I used to clean carpets at his house. I consider him, I guess, a friend. He's more than an acquaintance. I mean, he's a cool dude. We get along real good. He's about 65. He's retired. Anyways, he's got all these freaking... I'll just, all these cards, and all these on these note cards are like little booklets with anywhere from 8 to 12 cards, and they're all songs that he's like, liked, throughout his whole lifetime, pretty much. He's gone through it. Anytime he heard a cool song on the radio, he jotted it down, and then he made all these little pamphlets, and he pretty much wants to just get them like a mix, like, tape format. I guess I'm making this dude a mixtape. No homo, but I'm just... he's paying me for it. We haven't agreed on a price, but I told him, I'm like, dude, this is a lot of time. Like, what you got here? This is 70. I counted 75 freaking cards, and there's a lot of items on each card. And I just want to make this as automated as possible. So I'm like, how am I going to do this? I'm going to put it in a JSON data structure, and then we'll figure it out. Well, I did 2 entries, like manually entering in the JSON, and that quickly ceased. And I was like, no. We're creating a Vue app, and basically added these booklets, pages, and then you click on the artist or the song, and then it links. Actually, this will open a new tab. It links to the YouTube page that has that song, and it's perfect. It just freaking works. And it took like about a day to kind of throw together. There's a couple other things I want to, do with it. But yeah, you can even like search. The search works on it, so I knew Earth, Wind, and Fire was here. And just click on them. It's all in one piece. So I'm just now I got to do data entry and just put all that stuff into this little app. But yeah, that's cool. And then there's my Git server. Because I can't be like everyone else and push stuff to GitHub. I have to make it hard for myself and learn everything about the back end stuff. I wanted to be in control of my server. I didn't want just public repos, and since I'm not making any money, I'm not going to pay for a private one, but I can put it on a server that I already own. So that's why this came to be. So, and it's actually, the server's running in this house, but I have my network set up so you can get access to it from outside the house. It's on a HTTPS connection. It's as secure as I think it needs to be. I'm not going to say it's totally secure because nothing is, but anyone that's in computers knows that. So yeah, there's kind of stuff I'm working on. Got my apps, plural, some Blender, clouds, stuff. You saw a brief thing with the house. I made some other stuff. I don't even want to load it in. I'm just nervous because I'm doing too much of this already. I'll try this file, but I might have to like Control-Alt-Delete, get out of here real quick. Because I gotta wrap this up. It's already been too long. This is supposed to be quick introduction, and it's like over an hour long already. So no good. Anyways, and I also, one thing I hate about myself, and you'll throughout my videos, you'll notice I'm hard on myself. I give myself shit a lot because, well, it needs to be given when I'm doing stupid shit and maybe fucking something up. Well, gotta call myself out on it. So, I've noticed whenever I say, I'm gonna do this real quick, it's like jinx. No, it's not gonna be real quick. In fact, it's going to take you about 1,000 times as long, and chances are more probable than not that you're not even going to finish this quick thing that you plan on doing. So now I catch myself every time I even say the word quick, I like cringe. I'm like, oh god, should I bother? This is the other Blender model I made. Now my goal was going to be to use make models of like some of this computer equipment because I'm also writing some tutorials on like how to set up like a VM or I don't know, do anything with computers and even networking. I like having that visual reference there, and there's just a certain thing that works for me as far as I'm off center here on this camera. As far as looking at something and seeing like, components, visually, and how everything kind of pieced together. It's just a learning tool, and it helps me, and I figured it could probably help someone else. And I also like, making 3D models and shit. I think that stuff's cool. It's way cooler than, talking about KVM and QEMU. I mean, come on now. And, yeah, even these servers, if it's no mistake, I think they just have an animation. I know they have an animation, but this thing is running like a dog right now. Oh, there you go. You can kind of see it. Because I'm doing too much with it. I'm casting. I'm recording a screencast, and I'm streaming to this computer, and I'm trying to run Blender on top of it. So, yeah. Good luck with that, dude. Come on. So, yeah. This is some of the stuff I was working on last year. And I know they're not the greatest models, but as far as, my modeling abilities, these are some of the best models that I've been able to produce. And, I plan on, getting better. Everyone, the more you work at something, usually you hope that at the end of the day, you're going to be slightly better at whatever it is than you were at the beginning of the day. And, just, improve. And that's, what I plan on doing, and holy crap. I didn't want to zoom the whole desktop. But, I'm still, it's the one thing I created that, I can call it, done. All right. And it's not even good enough done. It's like, no, that's not good enough. That's actually halfway through. That's good. It ain't great. I mean, but it does what I need it to do. They're little models that I can use as visual aids for my tutorials. And it's done. The servers are done. Do I have the back I/O, modeled? No. I put a texture there. So that part is good enough. There's no texture even on the back of that. That's not the point of these. It was just, like I said, visual reference. And I don't know. I think the front, especially on the network switch, turned out pretty snazzy. Yeah, this doesn't really do it justice because it's all lagging, but you get the point. So I'm going to get out of Blender here because it's going to crash my computer. Just start changes. And don't crash everything. Alright, let me switch desktops here. So are we still recording anything? Looks like it's over an hour. Keep moving my mouse. Yeah, shortcuts, synergy. Tile between workstations. I use that most of the time. So, yeah. This is me. Oops. See me. Oh, let me just come back real quick. One last thing, and then I'm gonna bounce. It's too long, and I'm sorry if anyone's gonna sit through this, but at least you got some insight to what I'm about and what I plan on doing, I guess, with this shit. Let's see how long it takes me to edit all this. That's why I'll probably just do my little intro animation and then dump these streams into Cadent and call it a day. Where's that top? Oh, there's invisible space. Okay. So, God, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, criminy. Was it even important, dude? No. Until, next video. Intro done. Hey. Is that something done? And it's not. Well, it's going to have to be good enough, because I'm not doing this again. This is it. That's all I get. So it's done. It's done, son. Alright. Catch you guys on the flip side.